welcome back to Simple Living Happy Home. I am outside in my yard, as you can probably hear the traffic going by. Just enjoying a beautiful afternoon here and just kind of looking at what projects I'm going to be trying to focus on for the remainder of the summer. I'll show you guys around. Big projects that I'm working on this summer as far as like landscaping, because it seems like I'm doing that every year, is the stepping stone area that I worked on last summer. So here's what it looks like so far. So basically the problem that I ran into is that the soil in this area is sand and silt and nothing but weeds is growing. My plan was to have all these stepping stones put down in here and then be able to put in like Irish moss or something that's nice and green but really short, so we didn't have to worry about it overgrowing like this. And nothing really grows in here except weeds. So what I'm going to be doing instead now, because also managing that is going to be time consuming, I've been going through and weeding it out, but we're going to be pulling up the stepping stones. I'm putting down landscape fabric and then weeding everything, obviously, and then putting down black mulch to match the landscaping around the deck and the garage, and then putting the stepping stones back down. I placed these much closer together. I've got a few sitting over here because I ran out of mulch, so we're going to be getting a bunch more this week so I can actually finish this project hopefully. But yeah, that's why this is looking in a bit of a shambles at the moment. And the edging that I put down around here where the lawn ends and the stepping stone starts is just kind of being taken over by the grass, so I need to go through and clean up that edge again and just kind of fix that up. We need to get a ton more mulch and fill in this area, but I don't want to have to fight with all of my plants again like I did last year when we actually did all of this. So I think what we'll do is when it gets to be later this fall, we'll just cut everything off and we'll dump a whole bunch of mulch in here, and then next spring then all the hostas and all the plants can grow up through the mulch. But yeah, I've got little acorns that have started to sprout oak trees in here, and yeah, just needs to get cleaned up. But I do love my row of ginormous hostas that could probably be thinned out a little bit, but oh my goodness, I don't want to disturb them too much because they're so pretty. I have 5 brown chickens over. Hey, I don't have anything for you. Don't peck me. Oh, there's an egg. And that's what happens when you have free-range chickens. You will find eggs in random places. So that's actually 7 eggs for today, which is great. So our brown chickens here, the breed is Calico Princess. They are beautiful chickens. They're so pretty. They're very talkative too. And then these white ones are Amber Lynx. These are all primarily egg-laying chickens. This is our little apple tree, and it is producing a ton. And this was after I thinned out. It had so many apples that it was starting to tip over, so my husband tied it and tethered it, which has helped. But then this one branch ended up still having so many apples on it that we've got it braced with a board so it doesn't break off. But yeah, I mean, these are some pretty good sized apples. So the apple trees that we have on this property are an interesting mix. We don't actually know what kind of apples they are, because I think it was 2 owners ago, he apparently liked to dabble and enjoyed doing like crossbreeding between trees, specifically apple trees. And so I'll take you guys over there. We have an apple tree that is half crab apple, half apple. This is it. So this half is the normal size apple. This half is the crab apple. I'm not sure if you can see all the little crab apples on those limbs. Oh my goodness, it's got a ton of them. Okay. But then we have this side of the tree that we have all of those apples. And they are, I almost dropped my phone. They are a green apple that will kind of turn red. Oh, there's some on the ground. And they'll kind of become like that. This was my project from a week or so ago. I was actually putting down the edging, getting the landscape fabric put in, and then mulching in here. This is most of my rhubarb. It's looking a little tough right now. It took a beating. But there's a couple of them, like this one. I've got one in the back there that's doing really well. They're starting to perk up. I think I need to fertilize them is honestly the biggest issue. I just need to get some fertilizer in there with them to kind of rejuvenate them. But I finally got that area mulched in and it looks so much better. Actually had a hawk hanging around our property this week, and I came out to go to work one morning and noticed there was feathers all around the edge of the run. Tried to count all the chickens, make sure they were all there, which they were, and they didn't look like they were injured at all. And then the next morning, I think it was the next morning, I was coming out to leave for work again, and I saw a couple birds up in one of the tree limbs. I'm like, those are kind of big. And I heard some calls, and my daughter and I are walking, and I saw them fly kind of into the trees a little bit more, and then they actually flew and kind of swooped over our circle driveway area here that I'm standing in, and it was two hawks. It was a pair of adults. So I told my husband, and then when I went over and checked on the chickens again, they were all like huddled under the grapevine, like undercover. You know, I came over to the fence, which usually they run over if we come up because we are the treat bearers. And nope, they weren't moving. So I told my husband we need to watch pretty closely to make sure that they're able to get at their food and water without having to try to go into the open spaces. Because we have chicken wire over the entire chicken run so that, you know, nothing can attack them from above. The hawks couldn't actually get them. They might be able to, if the chickens are close enough to the fence, they might be able to grab hold of them through the chain link, but they wouldn't actually be able to take off with one of our chickens. So, but the chickens don't necessarily know that they are completely covered and protected. And I just don't want them like being stressed by not being able to go over to their food and water because there's predators in the area. There is something so wonderful about eating fruit directly from the tree. When you're homesteading, you spend a lot of time researching because there is no end in variety of things that can go wrong. Just like the beetles, like, you know, you can't go to a class and just learn about how, like, oh, these are the different, you know, these are different pests or different insect, you know, issues that you could run into, because there's no guarantee that you're ever going to run into those, and there's no guarantee that those are the only ones you'll have to deal with. The other thing that we're going to be doing, I don't know if we're going to get it done this year, but for sure by next year when we get the added chickens, we're going to be putting a gate in on the back side of the chicken run that joins up with our fenced in yard, because then we'll be able to let the chickens out into the yard where we have more grass. We have, you know, a lot more opportunities for them to find things, to scratch around, that sort of stuff. But if we have predators hanging around, we're only going to be able to let them out in that area when we're out, to make sure that they don't get carried off.